Kali Ma, Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Mama, Jai Maria 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 Mama, Jai Kali Mama, Jai Kali Mama, Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Shakti Kali Ma, Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Maria Mama, Jai Maria Mama, Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Shakti Kali Ma, Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Shakti Kali Ma, Jai Maria Mama, 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 Jai Maria Mama. पान सुपारी आनंद फूल चढ़ावे, पान सुपारी आनंद फूल चढ़ावे, मीठा भात और नारियल चढ़ावे, मीठा भात और नारियल चढ़ावे। जय मारिया मम्मा, जय मारिया माँ, जय मारिया मम्मा, जय मारिया माँ, जय काली मम्मा, जय काली माँ, शक्ति काली माँ, जय शक्ति काली माँ, शक्ति काली माँ, जय शक्ति काली माँ, जय मारिया मम्मा, जय मारिया माँ, जय मारिया माँ, जय मारिया मम्मा, जय मारिया माँ, जय काली मम्मा, जय काली माँ। आवो माँ, जय शक्ति काली माँ।
अरे कहुआ से आए भवानी, कहाँ से काली मैया, कहाँ से भैरव बाबा हो। अरे कहुआ से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। कहुआ से आए भवानी, कहाँ से काली मैया, कहाँ से भैरव बाबा हो। अरे कहुआ से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। अरे कहुआ से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। कहुआ से आए भवानी, कहाँ से काली मैया, कहाँ से भैरव बाबा हो। कहुआ से आए भवानी, कहाँ से काली मैया, कहाँ से भैरव बाबा हो। अरे कहुआ से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। अरे कहुआ से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। पूरब से आए भवानी, पूरब से काली मैया, पूरब से भैरव बाबा हो। अरे पूरब से आए भवानी, पूरब से काली मैया, पूरब से भैरव बाबा हो। अरे पश्चिम से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो। अरे पश्चिम से आए हनुमान, महामुनि ज्ञानी हो।
Sitaramam Shakti. This is Shakti Fridays with Justin D. Anthony. I want to say it's a pleasure and honor to have you locked on as we play the songs of the Divine Devi. And we bring you teachings of the Divine Devi on this very auspicious Friday morning. Indeed, before I go further, I want to take this opportunity to extend Navratri blessings to each and every one of you who is partaking in the festivities and in worship in this auspicious period of time of the Navratri. May your prayers bring about auspiciousness in your life as well. On today's Shakti Fridays, we will speak on a very controversial topic. We will speak about Pashubali, that is, animal sacrifice, in the context of Shakti worship. explain and get into the reasons why it is performed. We will explore the procedures and how to conduct it, the proper procedures. We will discuss this new phenomenon that has emerged, where individuals have Kali temple but claim to not partake in animal sacrifice. We will explore whether that is valid or not. We will explore many different aspects and topics relating to animal sacrifice, with reference to many scriptures and reference to many texts as well. So please do me one favor in the first place. Share this link across your Facebook as we speak today about Pashubali, animal sacrifice in Shakti worship. I want to begin the first place by saying Sitaram to Radha Totaram. I want to say Pranam to Cindy Sukram. I want to say Pranam to Devika Mohabir. I want to say Pranam to Vidya Singh. I want to say Pranam to Devi Munusami. I want to take this opportunity to say Pranam and good morning to all the devotees of the Sri Mahakali Durga Mandir, located at 9266 Springfield Boulevard in Queens Village, New York. In particular, I want to send and extend Navratri greetings to Pujari Karbadas Jitu and Grandma Rose. Do me one favor once again. Share this link across your Facebook as we speak about the most controversial topic in Shakti worship, animal sacrifice. Say Pranam and good morning to Nalini Ramrup. I want to say Pranam and good morning to all those watching in Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname. I want to say Pranam to all those watching in Canada, the United States of America, and Mauritius, the United Kingdom, Australia, and elsewhere. Wherever you're locked in from, I want to say may the divine day be you during this auspicious period of time of the Navratri. Bless each and every one of you in a profound way. So to begin our discourse for today, one of the most controversial topics and practices in Shakti worship is Pashubali, or as what we commonly know to be animal sacrifice. today's world, many spiritual leaders, many of the pundits, and just in general, they make many objections to animal sacrifice. They speak publicly on how animal sacrifice is not acceptable in Hinduism, how animal sacrifice causes chaos and ruin in the lives of people. They make statements and say that the Devi does not accept those offerings, and how somehow it is a violation to the Devi if one chooses to make such offerings for the Divine Mother. But the reality and the truth of the matter is, many of the things that we hear as it relates to animal sacrifice, that people preach on a public basis, that they speak of, do not have any validity. Many of them do not know what they're speaking about. Many of them have not even gone into all the scriptures to understand what is animal sacrifice, especially for the Devi. As we begin our discourse for today, Kalika Puran tells us, in the act of Balidan, in the act of the animal sacrifice, it says that, O Mother, you are the sword, and its blade, O Devi, is your tongue. It says that in the act of Balidan, the sword or the cutlass that is used, the Divine Devi is in essence in that sword. And when the animal is cut in a spiritual form, in a spiritual level, the Divine Devi accepts the offering of that animal. So for one to make the statement, for one to go on a public basis, and for one to say that animal sacrifice is not acceptable to the Devi, is not a part of the worship, is not all of this. What scriptural basis do they have? What knowledge do they have? From the ancient days of worship, of various forms of the Divine Mother, not only the form of Kali, but forms such as Chamunde, Ugrachandra, Bhadrakali, and Katyanima, which are just simply aspects of Durga Devi. Animal sacrifice has been performed from the ancient days to now. Program goes along, we will go into the reasons why it is performed. We will go into the benefits of why it's performed. And we will speak today about this new phenomenon where people have Shakti temple or people have Kali temple for the purposes of healing people, but they are not performing animal sacrifice. We will go into this phenomenon that is new. And we will look into whether this is valid or not. Whether a temple that does not perform animal sacrifice and does healing of people, whether that temple is proper or valid or not. So it is indeed a very controversial topic, a very controversial program. I want to say Pranam Sitaram and blessings to Wendy Takardeen and the entire Takardeen family. I want to say blessings to all my Floridians as well. I hope all of you are well, safe, and were largely untouched by Hurricane Milton. I want to say Pranam to Devi Sukdeo. I want to say Pranam to Sharda Lal. I want to say Pranam and good morning to Rita Albert. I want to say Pranam and good morning to Nalini H as well. As we continue onwards with our discourse for today, speaking on Pashubali, animal sacrifice in Shakti worship, in the context of Shakti worship. What is the primary reason why? What are one of the major reasons why animal sacrifice is conducted or performed? And I'm speaking here in the context for the temple. When you have a temple and it is involved in the healing of people, that is, you're calling up on the energies of the divine Devi to provide messages for an individual to aid them in their lives. Or you want to have a temple where you call up on the energies, the different forms of the Divine Mother, to come and to provide healing to an individual, to alleviate a sickness, to alleviate someone's problem, to aid a person who has some sort of disability or some physical impediment. Why? Or what is the purpose of animal sacrifice for such a temple? You know what is the purpose of animal sacrifice for such a temple? It is to empower the deity that stands there. So for you to have the understanding, when we are speaking about temple for healing, I'm not talking about a temple that, you just go in and you just pray and they do a little hawan and whatever and that's it. I'm not speaking about such a temple that has Kali and other forms of the Mother. I'm speaking specifically that you have a Shakti temple for the purpose of spiritual healing. It is a requirement that a temple of that nature has to perform animal sacrifice, because it is the act of animal sacrifice that empowers that deity. And to look at this in a very common sense basis. You have people who are sick, you have people who are ill, you have devotees who are coming to temple. They need the power of that deity in the strongest of way, to the greatest extent. That is why they do all these different offerings for the mother, for Devi. And that is why also, contrary to what we hear today, animal sacrifice must be performed when you have a Kali temple or a Shakti temple for healing. Because when you offer that animal or whatever animals you offer for the Devi, it empowers that murti. The power of that murti is strengthened, so that when the devotee comes to the murti and prays, when the devotee comes to the murti, comes to the temple and is in need of problems, that energy must be in the grandest of ways, and the energy must be able to aid them. So in the first place, for you to have the understanding, a temple for spiritual healing must perform animal sacrifice. Otherwise, the murtis required in healing are not empowered. It's not empowered. You can have a temple. You can have a temple that, people come on a Sunday and, they do their little worship. You come and you celebrate different holidays in Hinduism. Your regular Sanatan temple. And you don't need to perform animal sacrifice in those temples. Because those temples are not involved in healing. They are simply there for the devotee to come and do their prayers and everything. But when you require higher levels of energy, when you require such grand energy for healing of people's problems, animal sacrifice must be performed. We speak, for example, when we speak of Bhadrakali. Bhadrakali, for example. Bhadrakali throughout the history, when you look at it, is worshipped with animal sacrifice. There are scriptures that indicate that she is delighted with the animal sacrifice. So if you want, let's take the example of Bhadrakali. You want the energy of Bhadrakali to be in your temple, so that the mother can come on people, to manifest the energy of the mother can be there. So it can heal people of their issues and their ailments and sicknesses, and they're afflicted by negative energies. You have Bhadrakali, or you have aspects of Kali in the temple. For those purposes, you have to perform that such worship to ensure that the Devi is pleased, to ensure that the energy of that Devi is to the highest. Just simply taking coconut and bossing it, just simply putting flowers, just simply taking agarbatti and lighting it is insufficient when we are engaged in healing. If you have a little temple that people just come and pray, it's okay. You don't have to perform animal sacrifice. But when you need the energy of that Devi to the highest extent, that when an individual goes in the temple, they can feel that energy. That the energy must come with them when they pray and they leave that temple and they go home. You have to have the energy to the highest extent. That is why animal sacrifice for spiritual healing is very significant. And with regards to the audio, I'm going to try to edit it as best as I can.
मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंद मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंद लाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंद भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नगलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए वृंदावन की कुंज गलिन में सबको नाच नचाए वृंदावन की कुंज गलिन में सबको नाच नचाए श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नगडाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नगडाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम गिरधर नागर कहती मीरा सूर को श्यामल भाया सूर को श्यामल भाया गिरधर नागर कहती मीरा सूर को श्यामल भाया सूर को श्यामल भाया तुकाराम और नामदेव ने विठ्ठल विठ्ठल गाया तुकाराम और नामदेव ने विठ्ठल विठ्ठल गाया श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भज ले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
I want to say pranam to Shani Singh. I want to say pranam to Sunita Kolasar and family. I want to say pranam and good morning to Sushma Sunny. So as we continue onwards with our discourse for today, now we speak a little bit about the objections to animal sacrifice. Commonly, when we go anywhere, we go to any sort of religious function, or perhaps we go to some sort of religious event, spiritual event, and the topic of animal sacrifice is addressed. We often hear, a leader or, a spiritual individual, they will speak ill of animal sacrifice. They make a certain set of objections to animal sacrifice. So we will speak now about the objections to animal sacrifice and whether those things are even valid. I also want to take this opportunity just to say pranam and blessings to my sister. Pranam, blessings to my sister Shivani Ramprasad. I hope you have a wonderful day. So one of the objections made against the practice of animal sacrifice is the Divine Mother does not accept the offerings of animal sacrifice any longer. This is the objection they make, that somehow the Divine Mother has now changed and morphed, and now she no longer accepts animal sacrifice. That the practice is out of date now. But is that true? Is that valid though? You see, over time, many of our scriptures have been manipulated, have been altered, and have been modified over time. Even the Ramayana, There are aspects of the Ramayana that speak about animal sacrifice, that speak about offerings that are outside of what we commonly know in Hinduism. But if you were to go to the store today, you go to a puja store today and you pick up a book of that nature, you wouldn't be able to find it in that book. Because over time, people have modified it. People have removed certain elements of that book. So over time, many of our scriptures have been manipulated, have been modified in the direction of removing any sort of legitimization of animal sacrifice, any mention of it in many of the scriptures. Even in the Ramayana, there is an aspect of, there's a text in the Ramayana that speaks about the offering of sweet meat, meaning the offering of meat. But if you were to go and buy a modern day Ramayana, you wouldn't find it anywhere. But if you were to purchase another copy, an original copy from years and years and years ago, and you read that translation, you'll be able to see it. So this is for you to have the understanding. Over time, there has been a movement and shift in the direction of modifying our scriptures to remove elements that speak about animal sacrifice. So for this objection that, oh, David doesn't accept animal sacrifice anymore, you need to have the understanding that many of our scriptures have been altered, have been modified. And just because someone says, oh, the David doesn't accept it, what is their basis? What is the basis upon which they're saying that? Just because someone doesn't agree with animal sacrifice on the personal level doesn't mean the Divine Mother will not accept when a devotee from a state of pure love gives an animal for her. The second objection we can say made by many spiritual leaders as it relates to animal sacrifice is the killing of an animal is not permissible in Hinduism. That to kill any animal is a wrongdoing in Hinduism. This is the objection they say. But there are many scriptures that indicate that speak about what is animal sacrifice really? Is it a killing or not? In our scriptures, it indicates that for the Divine Mother, if an individual consumes meat, it is ideal for them to either offer for the Divine Mother a boar or a goat. If an individual consumes meat. And it explains in our scriptures as well that the act of Balidan is a non-killing, because when an animal is sacrificed for the Divine Mother, the soul of that animal becomes elevated. It goes to a higher realm. So while we, in an earthly sense, we will look at animal sacrifice as a killing, it's not actually a killing, but rather that soul that is trapped in the body of that animal is taken and brought to a higher realm. And it is said that not only the individual who conducts the Balidan is blessed, but the soul of that animal becomes blessed as well. So on a very simplistic level, in the first place, the objection that many make that animal sacrifice is a killing does not hold any validity. Because in the act of Balidan, the animal, the soul of that animal is elevated and brought to a higher realm. It is aided in the process. So this is for you to have the understanding. I want to say Pranam good morning to Sherry Ramcharan. I want to say Pranam good morning to Kumari Jacob. I want to say Pranam good morning to Sadna Suku, Rabindra. I want to say Pranam once again to Cindy Sukram.
प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो। प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे। प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे। हृदय में भाव हो, अनुनय की छाव हो, हृदय में भाव हो, अनुनय की छाव हो, आराधन का गाँव हो तो मन खिल जाएंगे, मन खिल जाएंगे, मन खिल जाएंगे, मन खिल जाएंगे। प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे। श्रद्धा की ज्योत हो, मन में न खोट हो, श्रद्धा की ज्योत हो, मन में न खोट हो, करुणा का सोत हो तो प्रभु श्री आएंगे, प्रभु श्री आएंगे, प्रभु श्री आएंगे, प्रभु श्री आएंगे। प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे। चरणों की चाह हो, भक्ति प्रवाह हो, चरणों की चाह हो, भक्ति प्रवाह हो, पूजा की राह हो तो प्रभु हर्षाएंगे, प्रभु हर्षाएंगे, प्रभु हर्षाएंगे, प्रभु हर्षाएंगे। प्रेम की अगन हो, भक्ति सघन हो, मन में लगन हो तो प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे, प्रभु मिल जाएंगे।
So once again, I want to say pranam, blessings and vanakkam to each and every one of you. Wherever you're locked in from, I want to say, in this period of the Navratri, may the Divine Devi bless each and every one of you in a special and in a profound way. Today, of course, if you just locked on, we are speaking about a controversial topic in Shakti worship. We are speaking about animal sacrifice. So as we continue onwards with our discussion for today, many people are so quick to object to animal sacrifice. Many people, when they see that animal sacrifice is performed or have the awareness that somebody is performing animal sacrifice, they're quick to draw criticism. They're quick to say something negative. And this often comes from individuals who consume meat. You know, in today's world, we see that some of the most fierce and loudest of critics of animal sacrifice, they themselves are individuals who love to eat mutton curry. They object to animal sacrifice. Yet when they go into the restaurant, they love to have their mutton curry. They object to animal sacrifice, but when they're at home, they love to cook their mutton curry. So in today's world, we find a lot of hypocrisy that an individual is consuming meat, yet against animal sacrifice. When we are sacrificing the animal for a divine purpose, for the divine mother or the divine father, a deity or devata, that is wrong. But when an individual is consuming meat for their own personal pleasure, it is somehow automatically permissible. So this is the level of hypocrisy we see in today's world. You cannot sacrifice animal for the divine mother or father. But when I go in the restaurant, when I'm at home, I can cook and eat my mutton curry. And I can eat it in the grandest of ways. But you need to understand that there's a certain differences. There's a certain level of respect. There's a certain level of dignity that is conferred when we partake in animal sacrifice for the divine mother or some type of deity. And it is very different to when a farm just, kills an animal and sells the meat. Those two things are very different on two different levels. When we speak about dignity of a living being, when we speak about respect for a living being, there are two differences we need to understand. When you kill an animal or you sacrifice an animal for God, and when someone just randomly sacrifices an animal so they can consume its meat. When a goat, because typically speaking, a goat is sacrificed for the divine mother. When a goat is to be sacrificed for the divine mother or a deity, an individual will go and they have to specially select that goat. They have to look at the goat, analyze that goat, look for signs of illness, look for signs of any deformity or any abnormality. They have to choose a goat that is in good health. So here is where dignity comes in. Here is where respect comes in. Here is where concern for the well-being of that animal comes to play. When a goat is to be sacrificed, you have to select a goat that is in good health, not with any abnormalities or disabilities and etc. They have to look healthy. So point one, we don't sacrifice just any single goat. We sacrifice a specific type of goat. We are not going to the easiest goat to sacrifice. Maybe the weakest one, maybe the one with a deformity that will make it so easy for us to do the sacrifice. We are looking specifically for a healthy goat that can be sacrificed. When the goat is selected, now we will bathe the goat. We will give it a mala. We will give it a dye, sindoor, or whatever else ingredients are given. We will feed that goat. We will give it water. Here we acknowledge that that is a living being. This is how we confer respect on that goat. And when it comes to the practice of the animal sacrifice, the goat sacrifice, the individual who is going to perform it will speak a mantra into the ear of that goat. And it raises certain vibrations in that goat. the mantra is spoken into the ear of that goat, after the mantra is spoken into the ear of that goat should automatically, on its own, become prepared to be sacrificed. And many people will observe and witness that. After the special mantra is uttered in the ear of that goat, the goat itself will put its body, will put its head in a state where it can be sacrificed. When animal sacrifice is done in the correct way and the mantra is spoken, the goat itself should not cry, it should not fight, it should not run around. When the mantra is spoken, the goat should put itself in a position, in a state to be sacrificed. And when it comes to the actual sacrifice of that particular animal, it should only be one strike of the sword or the cutlass to ensure the animal does not incur any sort of extra suffering, pain, or anything of that nature. So for you to have the understanding, when it comes to the sacrifice of an animal such as a goat, there are certain procedures involved that confer respect, that confer dignity on that goat. We don't just randomly say we're gonna kill a goat and then we go cook it and have mutton curry at home. We are engaging. We are acknowledging that that is a life form. It has a soul. We are treating it with respect before we are offering to the divine Devi. So furthermore, before that goat is sacrificed, you must observe. The individuals carrying out the sacrifice must observe, must listen. If that goat cries, if that goat weeps before the sacrifice is performed, that goat should not be sacrificed. It is an indication that the Divine Mother does not want that goat to be sacrificed. That the individual who is supposed to perform, who the sacrifice is being performed for, they should not be carrying out the animal sacrifice. And that could be for various reasons. It could be for various reasons. Why that goat cries. Maybe the purpose for which that goat is being sacrificed is not a good reason. They're sacrificing that goat for some evil intent or something of that nature. It could also be, before that goat is sacrificed and begins to cry, the individual whom that goat has to be sacrificed for is not in a proper state. They have to do the animal sacrifice for mother. But did they fast properly? Did they take the time to fast properly? So all these things are for you to have the understanding. Not just because an animal is decided to be sacrificed, do we sacrifice it. When a goat, after we speak the mantras, after we bathe it and everything, if the goat cries, if the goat shows signs of that nature, it's not sacrifice. It's not supposed to be sacrificed. Because the Divine Mother does not want it to be sacrificed. And that comes back to the person who has to do the sacrifice. What is the reason why they're sacrificing it? Are they sacrificing it for some bad purpose? Some evil reason? Because the reality is, in today's world, there are a lot of wicked people, evil-minded people, carrying out animal sacrifice to hurt someone, to transgress, or to violate someone. And that is not the purpose of animal sacrifice. It should not. let us now just do a little summary of everything I've just spoken about. And let us get back to the point that I'm making. There is a difference between animal sacrifice for a devi or devata, and there's a difference between, just some farm killing an animal, then you go home and you take the animal and you cook mutton with it. You cook mutton curry, or restaurant cooks it. There are two differences. When we do animal sacrifice for a devi or devata, we confer respect on that animal, and we only sacrifice that animal if the Divine Mother will accept it. If the goat cries, we are not supposed to do that sacrifice. Something is wrong there. Something has gone wrong, and the animal should not be sacrificed. But the difference when we speak about, the meat that you buy at the store, they just kill the animal at random. You have a person who works at the slaughterhouse, they kill the animal, they take the meat, and they clean it and wash it and whatever, and they send it to the store to be sold. Is there any respect for the animal when it comes to a slaughterhouse? Is there any dignity for the animal in a slaughterhouse? There is no concern for the animal. But somehow today, and in today's world, people think it is more acceptable, more permissible for me to go to a store to buy mutton and cook it in my home, or go to a restaurant and eat that mutton, than when an individual performs animal sacrifice. So this is for you to have the understanding, to put things in perspective. It is for the purposes of for you to have the understanding to put things in perspective. When we perform animal sacrifice for the devi or devata, we have certain rules and we have certain ways of ensuring the dignity of the animal. When a person is just buying meat at the store, there's no respect, there's no dignity for that animal. The slaughterhouse just kills it, and then the people sell it at the store. That's it.
समय रवि भक्ष लियो तब तीनहु लोक भयो अंधियारो ताहि सो त्रास भयो जग कोय संकट काहू सो जात न टारो
देवन आने करी विनती तब छाड़ी दियो रवि कष्ट निवारो
को नहीं जानत है जग
I want to say Sitaram, good morning and pranam to my Floridian family, Meena Cromwell family. Blessings to all of you. I want to say pranam to Sharda Sarju.
बाली की त्रास का पीस बसै गिरी जात महाप्रभु पंथ निहारो क्योंकि महामुनि शाप दियो तब चाहिए कौन विचार विचारो
कद्विज रूप लीवाए महाप्रभु सो तुम दास के सोत निवारो
को नहीं जानत है जग में कभी संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
अंगद के संग लेन गए सिया खोज कपीस ये बैन उच्चारो जीवत ना बची हो हम सोजो बिना सुधि लाए यहाँ पग धारो
हेरी थके तट सिंधु सभय तब लाए सिया सुधि कान उबारो
को नहीं जानत है जग में कपि संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
रावण त्रास दई सिय को सब राक्षसी सो कही शोक निवारो ताहि समय हनुमान महाप्रभु जाए महारजनी चर मारो
चाहत सिया अशोक सो आगे सुदय प्रभु मुद्रिका शोक निवारो
को नहीं जानत है जग में कभी संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो
बोलो जय जय बजरंगी बोलो जय जय बजरंगी बोलो जय जय बजरंगी हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी 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 हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी
I want to say good morning and pranam to Yash, Mahabir Prasad. I want to say pranam to Taj and family. I want to say pranam to Usha Sicharan additionally. I want to say pranam to Shirley Lochin.
बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी 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 हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी हनुमान बड़ो बलवान बोलो जय जय बजरंगी
I want to take this opportunity as well to just say the Sri Mahakali Durga Mandir located at 9266 Springfield Boulevard in Queens Village, New York continues to hold nightly Navratri services. And indeed, they would like to take this opportunity to invite you tonight from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. to join them for their Navratri service. Come out and receive the blessings of the Divine Devi. Indeed, the Sri Mahakali Durga Mandir would like to invite you on October 13th at 7 p.m. for their Master Call Bhaira Puja. Join with them in glorification and receiving the blessings of Master. So once again, the Sri Mahakali Durga Mandir would like to invite you tonight to join them for their Navratri celebrations. Come out and receive the blessings of the Divine Devi and receive her darshan. For more information, please contact Pujari Karbadas G2 at 917-929-7150. That's Pujari Karbadas G2 at 917-929-7150 for more information.
You are my
So after the animal sacrifice is performed, that is a goat is sacrificed, a chicken is sacrificed, or whatever animal is sacrificed.
You are my
What happens to the meat of that animal? Do we just simply throw it away? What occurs to the meat of that animal after it has been sacrificed?
You are my
Generally speaking,
You are my
generally speaking, the meat of that animal becomes a parsad and is later consumed by persons. But it is not the case for every sort of offering. When it comes to katerima and whatever animal it is a sacrifice for katerima,
You are my
we do not generally speaking
You are my
consume her parsad.
You are my
If a chicken or goat is sacrificed for Mother Kateria, her parsad is not consumed in that form.
You are my You are my
But when it comes to other forms of the Divine Mother, for example, sacrifices done for
my
Mother Kali, or as we say, the Big Mother.
You are my
Animal sacrifices performed for Master Kalbairo,
You are
Munis Spring Baba,
You are my
Sangali Karapan, or Sangani Baba.
You are my
Those deities that we are so familiar with. When animal sacrifices are performed for them, the parsad, that meat in essence becomes a parsad. It is to be cooked and it is to be distributed among devotees. So when an animal sacrifice is performed, generally speaking,
You are my
the meat is not wasted.
my
They cook the meat and then they distribute it among devotees.
You are my
When you look in India, in the temple of Matara, which is another form of Mother Kali, a higher form of Mother Kali, in her temple, devotees offer fish. And when the devotee offers the fish, later on,
my
the temple cooks rice, the temple will have drinks of water and everything,
You are my
and then they will distribute it.
You are my
They will distribute it among devotees
You are my
so that the blessing is in essence shared. So whatever is sacrificed for the Divine Devi in general,
my
whatever is sacrificed in general for the Divine Mother becomes a parsad and it is distributed among devotees. So in essence, the blessing is shared. And whenever that parsad is consumed, the blessing comes to the devotee who consumes it.
You are my You are my
And in today's world, there are many vegetarians who would object fully to the offering of, to consuming that animal sacrifice or to consuming, the fish sacrifice or whatever it is.
You are my
But that you have to understand.
You are my
That is a blessed food that the Divine Mother has accepted. She has blessed.
You are
When you consume that food, you consume the blessing. The blessing comes with you. That's why many people who are vegetarians, they do not eat meat, they do not eat fish, they do not engage in intoxicants and everything. When it comes to the parsad of the Divine Mother, whether it is meat or fish, they will still take a little piece and they will eat it. Ramakrishna, one of the greatest devotees of Mother Kali,
my
he was, as you may know, he was a vegetarian.
You are my
And in his days, especially his later days, he didn't really eat much. He didn't really consume too much food. He was engaged primarily in worship.
You are my
But even him, as a vegetarian, as a person who doesn't eat, anytime the animal sacrifice was done for the mother, he would take a little piece of the meat and he would eat it. Because he understood that that was mother's parsad.
You are my
And when you consume it, the blessing comes with you. And indeed, Meena Kraumal, I will ensure to play your song in a few minutes as well.
You are my
I want to say pranam to Vidya Jaggernaut. I want to say pranam to Golan.
my You are my
So to put it in summary, to just give you the point,
You are my
when an animal or whatever animal it is sacrificed for the Divine Mother or a deity or devata,
You are my
none of it is wasted. They take the meat, they take the fish, they will cook it, and generally speaking, by virtue of our traditions and what we eat in our culture and everything, they usually cook rice, and then they will distribute it among people. You know, they would give them water and everything, so that the blessing is distributed among everybody. And if you have the awareness
You are
in
my
Hindu spirituality, when you distribute food, that is one of the greatest of blessings. The offering of food to anyone, whatever food it is, whatever food it is, that is one of the highest blessings a Hindu
you are
can receive, is by offering food to someone.
you are my you are my
Feed the stomach of someone. That is one of the most highest and greatest of blessings. So for you to have the understanding, when an animal sacrifice is done, or fish is sacrificed for mother or deity, we don't waste the meat. We don't just throw it away, generally. We cook it and we give it to people.
you are my Krishna.
This song is in praise of Lord Krishna.
You are my savior. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Giridharidhari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Giridharidhari. They come to Krishna for liberation. Just come to Krishna for sweet sensation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
काली कमली ओढ़ के आए भक्तों के भगवान रे, तेरे मेरे में नई पहचान रे। काली कमली ओढ़ के आए भक्तों के भगवान रे, तेरे मेरे नई नई पहचान रे, तेरे मेरे नई नई पहचान रे। कैसे तूने रूप बनाया, मन लहराया, तन लहराया, बालक तेरे कौन में आए, रखना उसका मान पहचान रे काली कमल ओढ़ के आए भक्तों के भगवान रे तेरे मेरे नई नई पहचान रे कैसे तूने रूप बनाया कैसे तूने रूप बनाया मन लहराया तन लहराया बालक तेरे मान में आए रखना इसका मान ले तेरे मेरे नई नई पहचान रे काली कमल ओढ़ के आए भक्तों के भगवान रे तेरे मेरे नई नई पहचान रे
I want to say pranam to Mariana, Lou. And if I have to miss your name or greeting, I do humbly apologize. I do appreciate you tuning in. I want to say pranam to Shirley J. Karen as well. So on today's program, we have covered a very, very controversial topic in Shakti worship in Hinduism. We have spoken about Pashubali, animal sacrifice. We have addressed some of the objections to animal sacrifice. We have addressed and spoken about how the procedures involved in animal sacrifice are meant to show respect and dignity for the animal that is chosen to be sacrificed. We have spoken about how a temple that is for the purposes of spiritual healing must be a temple that does animal sacrifice. Because you have to empower the deity for people to receive its energy. We have spoken about so many different aspects of animal sacrifice. And as we are nearing the close of this program, towards the close of this program, we will try to speak about and try to close off our remarks. You know, one of the aspects is, it is often asked, in certain circumstances, can I offer a substitute? If I do not, under certain circumstances, under certain devotions, can I alternatively, instead of giving animal sacrifice, give something else? I'm trying to acquire a certain blessing. I'm trying to acquire something specific. And according to the procedure of the devotion, I have to give an animal sacrifice. Do I have to, or can I give a substitute? And the truth is, for certain devotions, for certain forms of worship, you have to give the animal sacrifice. To acquire that blessing, it must be done. In other circumstances, a substitute may be given. But remember, when a substitute is given, it is considered to be lesser. To give you a very, very simple example, in a very common sense way for you to understand this. For a female, for example, You love and you adore a female in such a grand way. Right? You take them to be your partner. And instead, they always have the desire. They always love. And that what will make them happy is a diamond ring. If you purchase an emerald or another precious mineral, a ring that contains that, would they accept it? Yes, maybe. They might accept that, that lesser ring. But in their heart and truly speaking, would they not be happy if you gave them a diamond ring? They would be most happy, they would be most delighted if you conferred and you gave them a diamond ring. And this is a sort of analogy for when it comes to animal sacrifice. In certain circumstances, under certain contexts, the animal sacrifice represents a diamond ring. And everything else, the substitutes, they represent the ring with a lesser value, like an emerald ring or sapphire or something like that. It's not the same. Would it be accepted? Probably, yeah. I mean, it would be accepted to some level. But is it the one that she wants? And this is a simple analogy. Under certain devotions, under certain circumstances, animal sacrifice has to be performed. You can't run from it. These are specific circumstances, though. They have to be performed for certain blessings. If you choose to give a substitute, it gives lesser blessings. For example, in one of the tantric texts, it tells us that, for example, we're doing worship for a certain deity. And in the worship of that certain deity, it requires alcohol to be offered. But if you don't have alcohol, you cannot afford the alcohol, or you cannot buy or obtain the alcohol. You may alternatively give coconut water. And you may alternatively give coconut water because, coconut water, it's sweet. It has that sort of sweetness, similar to the alcohol. So as a substitute, you may offer that coconut water if you don't have the alcohol. But the problem is, it gives a lesser blessing. You see, in Hindu spirituality, this is for you to have the understanding. When we do certain pujas, when we do certain rituals, it requires certain ingredients. Right, when you're doing certain pujas, you have to go buy pan leaf, you have to go buy tulsi leaf, you have to prepare all these certain offerings you have to prepare. Right, otherwise your puja, your jandi or whatever is not complete. And this is the same thing, the same level of thinking that we can apply here. You see, if you're under a certain devotion, trying to acquire a blessing, and it calls for the animal sacrifice, it must be performed for you to get the actual blessing you're trying to seek. When you put a substitute, it gives you a lesser blessing. It doesn't give you as strong of a blessing. And in the same way too, if you have a jandi, right? You have a jandi, and in that jandi, you have to buy pan leaf, you have to buy all these different sorts of spiritual leaves to offer. All these different types of flowers are, specific to what you're doing there. If you take the shortcut, and you just buy anything, do you believe the deities you're worshipping will be delighted in the same way? Because they're being cut short. In that same example that I give you, you have a female partner. You love them and you adore them. You buy them a diamond ring because that's what would delight them. That's what would give them the most happiness. You don't go out and buy a sapphire ring or some other type of lesser ring. So everything in Hinduism, there's a certain reason why we offer it. There's a certain potency and power that is conferred by offering it. So this is for you to have the understanding. In certain circumstances, you have to perform the animal sacrifice to acquire a certain blessing. This is not the case for every single aspect, and this is not for everybody. But under certain devotions you're performing, under certain circumstances you're performing, animal sacrifice has to be done. There's no way around it. But this is not the case for everyone. Everyone's individual case is different. Sometimes you might have to perform animal sacrifice in your worship. I won't have to perform it because my circumstances are different. It's all on an individual case-by-case basis. Where problems come about, and I think in today's Shakti worship, where problems come about, we have a phenomenon today. Whenever a devotee comes to temple, sometimes the people rush and try to tell the devotee, oh, you have to perform animal sacrifice. Just on the fly kind of thing. Every single issue they think has to be resolved through animal sacrifice. By killing a goat or killing a chicken. This is what's happening in Shakti worship today. As soon as somebody comes to a temple now they want to go perform animal sacrifice for them. Because they want to make money off of the devotee. It is not because, they need to do it because in their circumstances they need to do it. But rather they just want to make money off of devotees. So this is for you to have the understanding, because many people, here that watch this program, they go to Shakti temple and maybe they might in their lifetime walk into a Shakti temple one day. But I want to tell you that animal sacrifice is not for everybody. And we have to be very, very cautious sometimes in Shakti temple these days. Because, there are many, many Shakti temples today. As soon as a person comes in, they don't know your problem, they don't know nothing. They want to prescribe to you, you do animal sacrifice. Just so that you can pay them money and they can make money off of you. And that's what's happening in a lot of Shakti temples today. They want you to pay money for them to do sacrifice without knowing any problem you have. And they don't care. They collect their little money, they sacrifice the animal, they take the animal meat, and they go home and they make mutton curry and they enjoy themselves. Right, so this is all for you to have the awareness. Animal sacrifice is performed under certain contexts for certain individuals. Not everyone should go into animal sacrifice, and for you to have the understanding, sometimes substitutes don't work for animal sacrifice. Sometimes an individual must, in the circumstances, perform the animal sacrifice. But it's all based on a case-by-case basis. It's all based on your individual case. What works for you will not work for me. What is for you to do is not for me to do. I want to say pranam to Radha Deochan. I want to say pranam to Sherry Ramcharan. I want to say pranam to Beta, my grandpa Beta and grandma Chitra in Latikeni. want to say pranam and good morning to Ricky Romero. I also want to say pranam and good morning to Meena Chadaram. I hope you and your family are safe and Hurricane Milton did not really have a profound impact on your family as well. And indeed, to all my Floridians, I hope all of you are safe, well, and largely untouched by Hurricane Milton. So once again, I want to say Sitaram Om Shakti to each and every one of you. To conclude this program for today, I would like to share a little story, a short story that speaks to an individual in Hinduism, a devata in Hinduism that had to perform animal sacrifice for him to gain success. And that devata is Lord Ram. You know, at one point Lord Ram was in the state of depression.
Devi sarvabhuteshu.
Lord Ram was in a state of depression. He did not have the will, he did not have the energy, he did not have the guidance on how to defeat Ravan. He was at a standstill. And he didn't know what to do. And it was prescribed to him that he would have to do a devotion for the Divine Mother. And in this devotion, at the end of this devotion, he would have to perform an animal sacrifice. And then he would be able to get up, stand up, take on Ravan and win Ravan. So Lord Ram did his devotion. He prayed and he prayed and he worshipped the Divine Mother. Even though how great he was, even how virtuous he was, he made himself so small that he begged and he worshipped the Divine Devi under this devotion. He begged to the Divine Mother, Mother, as I'm doing this devotion for you, bless me so that I may defeat Ravan. At the end of his devotion, Lord Ram performs an animal sacrifice. And something happens. Something happens that will change the fate of Lord Ram. The Divine Mother appears to Lord Ram and he says to Ram, I am pleased with your devotion. Everything you have done here is to my liking, to my delight. And now I will bless you, Lord Ram. So the Divine Devi accepts the devotion and the animal sacrifice of Lord Ram. The Divine Mother tells Lord Ram, I will go into one of your arrows, Lord Ram. And when you see Ravan, you will take this arrow, you will shoot it in the direction of Ravan. And it is this arrow that I am inside of that will kill Ravan and put an end to his reign. So the Divine Mother in a spiritual form goes into the arrow of Ravan, goes into the arrow of Lord Ram. Lord Ram approaches Ravan takes that same arrow and shoots it in the direction of Ravan. He wounds Ravan with that arrow, and Ravan meets his demise. Well, what's the point of this story? With all our discourse for today, what's the point, or what is the lesson of the story? The point of the story, the lesson of the story, is to demonstrate that. You know, in today's world, many people, they take issue with animal sacrifice. They take issue with certain aspects of worship in Hinduism. But in Hinduism, everyone in Hinduism has a road to walk. Everyone in Hinduism has different issues, has different karmas to deal with. Sometimes it comes down to the fact that an individual, under the circumstances that they are in and given, they have to perform certain aspects of devotion, even animal sacrifice, to overcome the problems they're facing, to overcome the hurdles they're facing. And there's no way out of it. So this story teaches us a very, very simple lesson. That sometimes animal sacrifice is the means through which you will overcome your problems, you will overcome and gain victory in your life. And it has to be performed. Certain aspects of Hindu devotion and worship in Hinduism, sometimes for you, for your problems, for the issues that are facing your life, you have to perform certain forms of worship, certain devotions. There are certain actions you have to perform, because in your life there are certain afflictions, there are certain karma that comes with you. But by performing all these devotions, you get ahead. You're breaking through. You're making a breakthrough and getting ahead in life. In today's world, everyone, or it seems that so many people, they speak ill of animal sacrifice. They speak ill of certain aspects of the worship of the Divine Mother. But the truth is, all aspects of devotion, all aspects of, we have spoken about, even animal sacrifice, they are valid forms of worship. The point I want to leave with you is, Hindu spirituality has so many different aspects of worship. And everyone's problems are different. We should not look down at somebody, we should not criticize someone because they're engaging in a different aspect of devotion or a different aspect of worship. All these forms of worship are accepted by Mother. All these forms of worship exist to help someone with their problems. And all these aspects of worship and devotion, if done with love, if done in the correct way, the Mother accepts, the Mother is delighted, and the Mother helps the individual. So to say in closing, who am I? Who am I to frown upon how someone worships? Who am I as an individual to criticize anyone how they're worshiping? Who am I to say that animal sacrifice is wrong? Who am I to say that fish sacrifice is wrong? Who am I to say that the offering of rum and cigarette is wrong? We are no one. We do not have that authority, that power to say that any aspect of worship is wrong. And Hindus today need to be more enlightened. Hindus today need to stop rushing to criticize people. rushing to say something is bad in Hinduism. They need to be more enlightened. They need to take the time to enlighten themselves before they criticize someone how they're worshiping. Everybody out there is criticizing animal sacrifice. When they hear someone is doing animal sacrifice in their worship, they're criticizing and saying all these bad things about them. But a Hindu who is enlightened would know that is just an aspect of worship and love that someone chooses to do. So in closing, I want to leave you with that message that animal sacrifice is a valid, permissible, and legitimate form of worship. If an individual has to perform it, or if an individual chooses to perform it, it has many benefits if done in the proper way. But we should never criticize how people worship. We should never frown upon or scorn how people worship. Every aspect of worship in Hinduism is valid, as long as people do it according to the right rules and people are doing it when they're fasting. A Hindu is supposed to be somebody who doesn't jump to criticize people. A Hindu in the truest of sense is not supposed to be someone who will speak without knowing. When they do not know something, they do not open this mouth and utter anything. So with all these points in mind, my friends, Sitaram Om Shakti, with the next bhajan in mind, I'll be taking my leave. Until we meet again, my friends, I hope you have a great remainder of your Navratri. In whatever issues you're facing in your life, whatever roadblocks you're facing in your life, I want to say, may the Divine Mother Kali bless each and every one of you. And may her blessings illuminate your life, so that whatever you're facing today, may you have the power, may you have the energy and the will to overcome it. May the Divine Devi, who is Durga, bless you and your family with protection. Because as you know, Durga Devi is the form of the mother that removes all the enemies of the individual's life. She takes away all your enemies. She puts them in a state where they can never hurt you and harm you. May the Divine Devi, who is Durga, bless all of you with a layer of protection. That anyone who has ill intent on your life or your children's life, may their acts of wickedness, may their evil intentions, may never be able to manifest in reality. And may her protection always be with you everywhere you go in life. This is Justin D. Anthony. Until we meet again, my friends, may Mother Kali bless all of you and illuminate your lives. May the protective powers of Durga always be with you as well. Until we meet again, my friends, have a blessed rest of your Navratri. Until I see you again, take care.